Most guys do this, and it kills attraction instantly. They get the girl, they win her over, they finally have her attention, and then they flip a switch. Suddenly, they're texting back in 5 minutes instead of 2 hours. They cancel plans to see her, but she cancels once and they lose it. They start checking her phone. They become the needy one. And she pulls back, hard. Within weeks, sometimes days, the investment flips. She goes from all in to completely out, and the guy is left wondering what he did wrong. He's confused. He's frustrated. He's thinking, I did everything right. I treated her well. I was there for her. I've seen this pattern play out hundreds of times. Guys reach out to me, they say, I don't understand. Everything was perfect the first few months. Now she's cold, now she's distant, now she's talking to her ex. And they genuinely can't connect the dots between who they were and who they became. They think it's random. They think it's her being crazy or emotionally unstable, but that's not what's happening at all. Most guys don't realize there's a specific psychological mechanism driving this. It's not random. It's not her being crazy. It's biology. It's her nervous system reading his and making a decision. It's her subconscious doing the math and coming to a conclusion. And by the time he figures out what happened, it's too late. The damage is done. But here's what almost nobody understands. The moment she stops being invested isn't when you mess up in the relationship. It's when you change who you were when she fell for you. The version of you that made her feel special, that made her compete for your attention. That guy disappeared, and she grieves the loss without even knowing what she's grieving. She just knows something shifted, something died. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why women lose interest and the one behavior you need to maintain, not perform, maintain, to keep her invested for the long term. Not just the first year, not just before the ring, long term, real, lasting, deep investment. This changes everything. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to understanding modern dating psychology so you can build real, lasting relationships based on attraction, not obligation, not desperation, not her feeling like she settled, based on actual desire, based on her choosing you because you're the best decision for her life. Today we're going deep into why most relationships die, not from big betrayals or arguments, not from infidelity or incompatibility, not from financial problems or stress, from a slow, quiet death, from a guy slowly giving away his power until there's nothing left to be attracted to, from a relationship that starts magnetic and becomes mediocre. Stay with me because this is about to be life-changing.
Let me tell you about Derek. Derek was a good guy, genuinely, and I say that because I knew him. He had his life together. He had a solid job in tech. Good money, good title. He worked out 4 times a week. He had hobbies he was passionate about. He was into photography, traveled when he could, had a tight friend group. He'd go out on the weekends with his boys. They had a basketball game every Sunday. He had structure, he had purpose, he had direction. Women were attracted to him, not because he was the most handsome guy in the room. He wasn't. He was average looking, actually. But because he had something most guys don't have, a life worth showing up for. He did his thing. He had vision. He had ambition. He had options. He was the guy you wanted to be around because being around him made you feel like you were part of something bigger. When he met Sarah, everything felt right. She was laughing at his jokes. She was the one initiating conversation. She was texting him first, asking when she could see him again. She was canceling plans with her friends to make time for him. She was leaning in. She was invested. For the first 3 months, Derek felt like he'd finally figured it out. He was in control. He was mysterious. He had options. She wanted him more than he wanted her, or at least that's how it felt. And it felt good. During those first months, Derek was busy with work. He couldn't always text back right away because he was in meetings. He had gym sessions. He wasn't skipping for anyone because he'd made a commitment to himself. He had photography projects he was working on. He was actually building a portfolio to start a side business. He made plans with Sarah, but he also made plans with his friends.
He'd see her Friday and Saturday night, but Sunday was his day. He worked out in the morning, met with his photographer group, explored the city taking shots. He had a full life. Sarah thought it was attractive. She'd say things like, "I love how focused you are on your goals. I love that you have your own thing. That's really sexy." She'd say, "Other guys just try to be around me all the time. You're different." He was the guy she wanted to be around and the guy who wasn't desperately available. Perfect balance. She was choosing him every single day. Then Derek did something most guys do without realizing it. He got comfortable. He got confident. He thought, "I've got this. She's invested now. She's not going anywhere. I've already proven myself. I don't have to put in the same effort." So he changed. Subtly at first. So subtly that nobody would notice. But Sarah noticed. Not consciously at first, but she noticed. He stopped planning dates as carefully. What used to be thoughtful Saturday nights, dinner at the place she mentioned she wanted to try, then a walk through the park, then back to his place, became, "Hey, you free? Let's just hang at my place." He started canceling when his boys called. His friend Mike would text about a basketball game and Derek would say, "Can't," with Sarah. He stopped going to his photographer meetups as much because he was spending time with her instead. He'd be on his phone scrolling through Instagram when they hung out. She'd be telling him a story about her day and he'd be half listening, mentally at work thinking about a project deadline. Sarah noticed, not consciously at first, but her nervous system registered the shift. He wasn't the same guy anymore. The version of him that made her feel like she was the only woman in the world. That guy was gone. Now she was competing for his attention with his phone, with his mental space, with his distraction. Now she wasn't sure if he actually wanted her or if she was just convenient. If she was just what he did when he wasn't working. She'd say things like, "You're not as into this as you used to be." And Derek would respond, "No, I am. I'm just busy with work." But that wasn't the truth. The truth was, he'd deprioritized her without realizing it. He'd taken her for granted, and her subconscious knew it. And here's the cold truth nobody tells you. When a woman feels like she has to compete for your investment in the relationship, she stops investing. It's not spite. It's not her being difficult or emotional. It's self-protection. Her subconscious is thinking, if this guy is already pulling back, if he's already becoming less available, what's going to happen in 2 years? What's going to happen when we move in together? What's going to happen when things get real? Is he going to check out completely? She's doing the math, and the equation doesn't add up. By month 5, Sarah was the one pulling away. Derek, panicking now because he finally noticed, tried to fix it. He became more available. He'd text her multiple times a day with no expectation of a response. He'd send her song lyrics and random memes. He'd show up at her work with coffee and a smile. He'd try to arrange elaborate surprises. "Let me take you to that upscale restaurant you've been talking about for months. I'll make it special." He was trying to win her back, but it was too late, because now he looked desperate. Now he looked like he was performing. Now he looked like he'd realized he messed up and was scrambling to fix it. And she realized the man she fell for didn't exist anymore. He was just a guy who got comfortable, got lazy, took her for granted, and now that he was losing her, he was trying to fix it with grand gestures. That's not attractive. That's not a guy with his life together. That's a guy in panic mode. That's a guy whose priorities are out of order. They broke up 3 months later. Derek blamed it on her being emotional or needing too much or being impossible to keep happy. He'd complain to his friends, "I don't understand. I did everything right. I took her out. I bought her gifts. I texted her. I rearranged my schedule. What more does she want?" And his friends would nod along because most guys don't understand what actually happened. But the real issue was different. Derek stopped being the man she was attracted to. He stopped being invested in making her feel valued. He stopped being a man with a mission and became a man orbiting around her needs. He became passive in the relationship. He became reactive instead of proactive. Instead of creating and leading, he was reacting and following. And passivity kills attraction faster than almost anything else. Faster than arguments, faster than financial problems, faster than differences in life goals, faster than infidelity sometimes. A woman can forgive a lot, but she can't forgive a man who stops being a man. She can't forgive the loss of the person she said yes to. You've probably done this before. You got the girl, relaxed, got comfortable, and watched the investment slowly die. It feels unfair, doesn't it? Like you shouldn't have to keep trying once you're in a relationship. Like once you've proven yourself, you can coast. Like commitment means you can finally stop performing and just be comfortable. But here's what most guys don't understand. Maintaining attraction in a relationship isn't about trying harder. It's not about becoming a better boyfriend by doing more chores or being more romantic or texting more. It's about maintaining a specific psychological position, a position where you're not trying to keep her. You're building a life so good that she wants to stay in it. Before I tell you what the strategy is, you need to understand why it works. Because without understanding the psychology, you'll use this as a technique and it won't land. It'll feel fake. It'll feel like you're playing games. And she'll feel it. Remember, mirror neurons. Her nervous system is constantly reading yours. She's not analyzing your behavior consciously. She's feeling your energy. She's sensing your vibe. She knows when you're trying and when you're being real. She can sense manipulation from a mile away. Let me introduce you to something called the investment asymmetry principle. It sounds complex, but it's actually simple once you understand it. In any relationship, romantic or otherwise, whoever is less invested holds the power. Not because they're playing games, not because they're being manipulative, but because human beings are wired to pursue what moves away from us and devalue what's always available. This isn't a trick. This isn't about being cold or distant. This is how attachment works in the human brain. This is neuroscience. This is how we're built. Think about basic economics for a second. When something is scarce, it's valuable. Gold is valuable because it's scarce. Water is worthless because it's abundant. Your attention works the same way. When you're rare with your attention, when you're selective about who gets access to you, you become valuable. When you're available to everyone, when you're handing out your time and energy like it's free at the gas station, you become worthless. You become ordinary. You become just another guy. When you first meet a woman, the dynamic is natural. You don't know her yet. You have other options. You're not fully invested. You have hobbies. You have friends. You have work that matters to you. Your life has shape and meaning beyond her. She senses this, and it makes you attractive. Your scarcity, your independence, your focus on your own life, these things pull her in magnetically. She wants to close the gap. She wants to be the one you choose. She wants to be so special that you rearrange your priorities for her. She wants to win you. But then guys make a mistake, a big one. They think once they lock her down, once she's committed, once the relationship is official and Facebook official, they can drop the act and just be lazy. They think commitment is a destination where you finally get to relax. They think, okay, I've won her. Now I can be myself without the effort. Now I can be comfortable. Now I can coast. Wrong. Dead wrong. Because commitment doesn't remove the need for the dynamic that created the attraction in the first place. If anything, it requires more intentionality, not less. More awareness, not less. Here's what research in attachment psychology shows us. Women don't lose attraction because you're too available. That's not the issue. They lose attraction when you become passive. When you shift from being a man with his own mission, his own focus, his own standards, to being a man whose entire world revolves around her. That's when she stops feeling like she's choosing you and starts feeling like you're desperate for her. That's when the power flip happens. That's when the relationship starts dying. Think back to the early stage again with your last girlfriend. I want you to be honest with yourself. When did she text you first? When you were focused on your work, your gym session, your friends, when did she stop texting first? When you made her your priority, when you rearranged your schedule for her, when you started saying no to your friends because you didn't want to miss out on time with her, when she became your main source of validation, when she became the highlight of your week instead of one of many good things in your life, that's when the shift happened. That's when you lost the dynamic. This is the pattern that kills relationships, and most guys blame the woman for being too needy or not appreciating them. They say things like, "I did everything for her and she still wasn't happy. I rearranged my entire life for her." But the woman isn't the problem. The guy's loss of self is the problem. He made himself so available, so willing to drop everything for her, that he became ordinary. He became replaceable. He became unremarkable. And she lost respect. Because deep down, we're not attracted to people who need us desperately. We're attracted to people who don't need us, but want us. There's a difference. A massive difference. Now, here's where most relationship advice gets it wrong. They tell you to maintain independence or play hard to get. That's not what this is. Playing games doesn't work long-term because she feels the inauthenticity. She feels the manipulation. She can sense when you're performing. You can't fake this stuff. What actually works is maintaining what I call the 3 pillars of sustained attraction. And these are real. These are principles you can build your life around. These aren't tricks. These are mindsets. These are ways of being. Pillar 1, mission first mentality. Your life, your goals, your growth has to remain your primary focus, not her, not the relationship, you. This isn't selfish. This is actually the most generous thing you can do. Because when you're working towards something bigger than yourself, when you're building something meaningful, when you're becoming the best version of yourself, you become someone worth being with. You become someone worth investing in. You become someone she wants to be around. Not because she has to, but because being near you elevates her life. She becomes better because of you. When she sees you working towards something bigger than her, something that excites you, something that requires your energy and focus, that activates the part of her brain that wants to support you, that wants to be part of your mission, she becomes an addition to your life, not the center of it. She becomes someone who gets to participate in something amazing, not someone who has to carry the weight of being your only reason for being. She gets to be your partner in something, not your entire purpose. Let me be clear, this doesn't mean you neglect the relationship. It means she's not your reason for living. Your vision is, your growth is, your purpose is, and she gets to join that journey, but she's not the destination. She's someone who walks the path with you, not the path itself. Pillar 2, standards and boundaries. This is critical. I mean critical. Early on, guys have high standards without saying anything. They just naturally do. A woman disrespects them once and they walk. A woman starts playing games and they don't play back. They just move on. They have options. They have self-respect. But once they're committed, they relax. They lower their standards. They accept behavior they wouldn't have accepted 6 months ago. They let her disrespect them because they don't want to rock the boat. They compromise their boundaries because they're afraid of losing her. They sacrifice their dignity to keep the peace. They become smaller versions of themselves. Wrong move. Dead wrong. Maintaining standards and clear boundaries is the second pillar. It's not about being harsh or controlling. It's not about making ultimatums or being aggressive. It's about having a line, about not accepting mistreatment, about saying no sometimes, about walking away from behavior you won't tolerate. When a woman knows you have standards and you won't compromise them for her, she respects you, and respect is the foundation of sustained attraction. A woman can forgive a lot, but she can't forgive a man without a backbone. Pillar 3, consistent presence. When present. When you're with her, be with her. Don't be on your phone. Don't be thinking about work. Don't be checking your email or scrolling through social media.
Be fully present. But here's the key. This doesn't mean being available 24/7. It's about the quality of your attention when you do give it. Most guys get this backwards. They're absent when they're with her, scrolling, distracted, mentally elsewhere. Then they try to compensate by texting constantly when they're apart. "Good morning, babe. How was your day? Thinking about you." That's the kiss of death. Instead, see her less often. But when you see her, give her 100% of your attention. When you're not with her, live your life fully. Go out. Do your thing. Have your own experiences. Pursue your interests. Build your friendships. Work on your passion projects. When you're together, you have stories to tell. You have energy. You have presence. You have something to give. You're not empty. You're not depleted. You're not looking for her to fill a void. Then when you're together, you can be fully there. You can give her your complete attention. This creates a dynamic where she feels valued without feeling suffocated. She gets the best version of you, not the tired, depleted version of you who's been trying to be present all week. So here's the concrete strategy, and it has one core rule. 1. Everything else flows from this. The rule: never be more invested in the relationship than she is. That's it. That's the entire strategy. But let me break down what this actually means, because most guys interpret it wrong. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're cold or unavailable. It doesn't mean you keep a scoreboard and count who texted who last. What it means is you maintain awareness of the dynamic. You notice when she's pulling back and you pull back with her. You notice when she's fully in and you match that energy. You never chase, ever. Because the moment you start chasing, the moment you text more than she texts, the moment you're planning dates more than she's planning them, the moment you're more excited to see her than she's excited to see you, you've lost the dynamic. The power flip happens. Here's how this plays out in practice. In communication, you text her, but not obsessively. You respond to her, but not instantly. Don't be the guy who replies in 30 seconds. Be the guy who's living his life and texts back when he has a moment. You keep your responses matched to her communication style. If she takes an hour to text back, you take an hour. If she's short with her replies, you're not overly long and emotional. This is not games. This is simply maintaining balance. This is matching energy. When the balance shifts and she starts texting more, cool. You can respond faster now because she's the one pursuing. But the moment you reverse that and you're the one chasing, she'll feel it and she'll pull back. Guaranteed. In time and presence. You make plans with her, but you also have plans without her. You see her once, twice a week if you're serious. Not every single day. Not whenever she's free. You have a rhythm. You have structure. And you don't cancel your plans with your friends for her unless it's something truly important. This sounds harsh, but what it actually does is create desire. She knows you have a full life. She knows there are other people and things competing for your time. She knows you're not sitting around waiting for her text. So when you choose to spend time with her, it feels special. You're not just filling empty space in her schedule. You're allocating something valuable. Your time, your energy, your presence, and that matters. In emotional availability, you support her. You listen, you care about what's going on in her life, but you don't make her your emotional support system. You don't dump all your problems on her. You don't share every insecurity and fear and worry. You don't need her validation to feel good about yourself. You have your own support system. Friends, family, a therapist if needed. You've got your people. When you need her validation, when you're looking to her to make you feel okay about yourself, you've lost power. When you're self-validating, when you can handle your own emotions, when you're stable regardless of her mood, that's when you're attractive. In sex and intimacy, you maintain interest and initiate, but you're not desperate for it. You don't use sex as validation or as a way to fix disconnection. If she doesn't want to have sex, that's fine. You don't sulk. You don't punish her. You don't withdraw emotionally. You just accept it and move on with your evening. You're not a needy little boy.
When a man can be physically close to a woman without needing something from her in return, that's when she feels safe. That's when she can relax. And when she feels safe, the intimacy deepens on its own. In conflict, you don't argue to win or to prove yourself right. You also don't back down just to keep the peace. You state your position clearly and respectfully. You listen to hers, and you find resolution, or you agree to disagree. Most guys do one of two things wrong in conflict. They either become aggressive and dominating, trying to prove they're right and she's wrong, or they become passive and apologetic, backing down and taking blame just to make the conflict go away. The right move is to be calm and clear, to have an opinion without needing her to agree with it, to stand your ground without being hostile. This is incredibly attractive because it shows you're secure in yourself. You don't need her agreement to validate your position. Let me give you a real example of how this works. Let's say you and your girlfriend have plans Friday night. Thursday rolls around and she texts you saying her friend just had a breakup and she wants to go see her instead. Old Derek would immediately say, "Of course, go, your friend needs you. That's really sweet of you." And he'd wait around all weekend hoping to see her. He'd text her updates. "How's your friend doing? Let me know when you're free. I miss you." New Derek would say, "That makes sense. Hope your friend feels better soon. Let's reschedule for next week." And then he'd invite his friends over or plan his own night. He'd go to that basketball game he was thinking about. He doesn't punish her. He doesn't get upset or passive-aggressive, but he also doesn't rearrange his entire world. He maintains his position. He maintains his plan. And here's what happens. She respects that. She respects a man who has his own thing going, so maybe she hangs out with her friend for a couple hours, but she texts him halfway through. She says she misses him. She asks when they can reschedule. She's being proactive. Now she's the one pursuing. Now the dynamic is balanced again. She's not taking him for granted because she can't. He has a life. He has a plan. He has options. This strategy is called balanced reciprocity, and it's the foundation of every healthy relationship with sustained attraction. You're not taking from the well without giving back. You're not giving everything and expecting nothing. You're matching energy. You're maintaining a dynamic where both people are invested, where both people are choosing each other, where neither person feels like they're the only one trying. Now I need to tell you something that most relationship coaches won't. This strategy works. It's proven. It's real. But there's a catch. A big one. You can't fake this. You can't read this video and think you're going to apply balanced reciprocity while actually resenting her for not giving you what you want. You can't pretend to have a mission while secretly hoping the relationship saves you. You can't set boundaries while hoping she begs you not to enforce them. She will feel the inauthenticity. Her nervous system will read the agenda, and it'll backfire. It'll blow up in your face. The reason this strategy actually works long-term is because it's not a strategy at all. It's a way of being. It requires you to genuinely have your own life. It requires you to genuinely have your own growth happening. It requires you to genuinely not need her validation to feel good about yourself. If you're doing it to manipulate her into staying, it won't work. The moment she senses the manipulation, the moment she realizes you're just playing a game, it's over. So here's what I'm really asking you to do. Stop trying to keep her invested. Start building a life so good that she wants to be part of it. Stop trying to be the perfect boyfriend. Start being a man with his own direction, his own standards, his own vision. Stop asking yourself, what can I do to keep her? And start asking, am I becoming the man I actually want to be? Am I living the life I actually want to live? Am I building something worth building? Because the truth is, when you answer those questions honestly and start living accordingly, the women worth keeping will naturally stay. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to. Derek's real story didn't end in a breakup. Well, it did end with Sarah, but it didn't end with Derek broken. After his breakup from Sarah, he spent 2 years genuinely building his life, not to get women, just because he wanted to, not as a strategy, because he was hungry for something more. He got obsessed with starting a business. He went to the gym because he wanted to be strong and healthy, not because he wanted female attention. He traveled solo. He spent real time with his friends. He went to therapy and dealt with his stuff, his insecurities, his fears, his patterns. He built a life that was genuinely interesting to him. 3 years later, he met someone new. Her name was Michelle, and the dynamic was different from the start, because he wasn't trying, he wasn't performing, he was just living. And she matched his energy, and they built something real, not based on him being the perfect boyfriend, but based on two people who both had their lives together, choosing to do life together. They were partners in something bigger, and that relationship, it actually works. Years later, it still works. That's what I want for you. Not relationship hacks, not tricks to manipulate women into staying, but a life you don't need a relationship to validate. A life so good that a great woman would be lucky to be part of it. If this video gave you something real, something that made you think differently about how you show up in your relationships, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more guys who need this message. Subscribe, because every week we're breaking down the real psychology of attraction and relationships. Not the surface level stuff you see everywhere, the actual mechanisms of what makes relationships work and what kills them. Not the motivational garbage, the truth. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one thing you're going to change this week based on this video? Are you going to stop texting her first? Are you going to start planning your own night this week instead of waiting for her to ask what you're doing? Are you going to have a real conversation about boundaries? Are you going to start working on that passion project you've been putting off? Let me know. I read the comments. Your comment might be the thing that helps another guy in the same situation. And if you're watching this and you're in a relationship that's already dying, that's already lost the spark, it might not be too late. But the first step is getting honest with yourself about whether you've become passive, whether you've given away your power, whether you've made her your entire world. If you have, you know what to do. Rebuild yourself. Get your life back. Become the man she fell for again. Not for her. For you. I'll see you in the next one.